I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking, I am making vegetarian tamales de rajas con queso. That is vegetarian tamales with poblano pepper strips and cheese. And this one's dedicated to the one I love. That's you, Adrienne Mishler. This one's for you, babe. Step one is to rehydrate the masa harina. That's masa flour. Masa means dough, and it's made from ground up corn kernels that have been soaked in lye, like hominy basically. And you can buy that sometimes fresh at a Mexican grocer, especially during Christmas time. But you should be able to find this flour near the regular wheat flour at most major grocery stores in the US. So I just added some vegetable broth. If you're not making these for a vegetarian friend, you can totally use chicken broth. And we're just gonna mix this up like this. And I know I'm gonna get questions about, can you use cornmeal if you can't find masa? And you really can't. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there's really not a substitute for it. But look online. If you're in Europe, you should be able to order it on Amazon if you have that. Add a tiny bit more water. It's not an exact science. Probably would be more exact if I weighed the masa, but I'm an American, damn it, and I use cups. Okay, so once it's a soft mass, I'm gonna set that aside and let it sit for about 5 minutes while we whip our fat. We'll be whipping some fat today. Since these are vegetarian, I'm gonna use some butter, but lard is traditional. I get this kind at any butcher will have like little lard. Would you call me trouble lord? Okay, any butcher will have this. And then also again at Mexican or Latin American groceries this time of year especially, you can find big blocks of lard near the corn husks, which you will also need to find. Okay, so I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil to this butter. And I'm just gonna beat it on medium speed until it's nice and fluffy. All right, once the butter is fluffed up like this, we're gonna add a hefty pinch of salt and some of our masa. We're just gonna kind of add this in little by little while we mix it to make sure we're incorporating lots of air into the mixture. Okay, so when it's done, it should kind of look like hummus, I guess, and kind of have the same texture. And to check to make sure that you do have enough air beaten into the masa, take a little blob and just drop it into a cup of water. And if it floats, you're good. Look at that. I'm just gonna eat this, just kidding. But I will just toss it back in there. Okay, so great. This works best if you can leave this to sit aside for like 15 or 20 minutes just to make sure that the flour is like fully hydrated and all the little grains are plumped up. But that gives us enough time to prepare our filling. So like I said, we're doing poblano and cheese filled tamales. So I've got a couple of poblanos that I roasted. I just cut them if they're really huge, just cut them and put them on a baking sheet and put them in the broiler for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Depends on how hot your broiler is and how close the peppers are to the heat element. And turn them occasionally to get all the sides blackened and a little bit blistered. Then we're gonna pull them out and put them into a bowl and put a plate on it to cover it. This will help them steam to loosen those skins so that they'll be easier to peel. And then pretty much by the time they're cooled off, they're cool enough to, they're soft enough to peel. So this is what these look like now. For some reason, poblano, the capsaicin or whatever in the poblanos especially is very hard on my hand. So I do recommend and I don't even have sensitive skin, and jalapenos and habaneros, I can mess with those all day long and not notice it, but there's something different about poblanos. So I'm gonna use a paper towel. This may be unorthodox, but I don't care. These are my tamales, my rules. So just kind of use the paper towel to help you peel the skin off, and just try not to touch the actual flesh or the seeds very much. And then, of course, you know, wash your hands really well afterwards. See, the skin should just peel right off. If you can't get some, it's a little bit of skin. It's not gonna kill you. Nobody ever died from a little bit of skin, unless it was because they weren't using a condom. Safe sex, guys. I don't know where that came from. Okay, just gonna keep doing these. Then, carefully again, cut the seeds out. And I'm just gonna cut this into strips or rajas. And always, if you're using your knife to scrape things off your board, use the back side of your knife so that you don't mess up your blade. I still forget that sometimes, but I'm trying to get better. Okay, and then for the cheese part, oh wait, where did my cheese go? Where'd my chi go, as in Manchego? Manchego is actually how I pronounce it. That's the kind of cheese that I'm using. But any kind of good melting cheese will work. Like if Monterey Jack is all you can find, that's totally great. Just gonna also cut this up into some little strips. All right, the final missing piece is these corn husks. So I've had these soaking in some warm water for about 30 minutes, so they're nice and pliable. When you buy them, you'll get them in a bag like this. It's usually a pound bag. They're dried out. They're in the produce section most of the time. If you can't find them, I have done this with squares of parchment paper, which works okay. These add a little bit of corn flavor, and the parchment paper, they have to cook longer, but it'll totally work. And I just weigh it down with a plate just to kind of keep everything submerged. Oh, and then also this salsa verde, you can buy some. I did a video for this a couple months ago, so I'll put a card for that if you want to make your own salsa verde. All right, this is fun. Okay, so you're gonna get a tamale husk, you're gonna get a corn husk, an hoja, a leaf, and there's ridges, and kind of feel it. If you run your fingers parallel to the ridges, you should feel one side feels a little waxy and the other side feels a little sandpapery. You want to put the waxy side up and the pointy end facing you. If you can't figure out which side is which, don't worry about it. And then we'll put a heaping tablespoon of masa in the wider end, and spread it out to a rectangle that's like 3 to 4 inches long and maybe 2 to 3 inches wide. Put a little spoonful of the salsa in the middle. Put a slice of cheese and a couple strips of your poblanos, or just one if you want to make it mild, I guess. Get in there. And then just sort of use the husks to wrap the masa around. If it's a little sticking out, it's probably not traditional, but it does look prettier when they're done. And then we're going to fold one side over and the other side over, fold the bottom up. And if it'll stay closed, that's great. If not, get one of your uglier husks and shred it into little strips, and voila, nature's string. Mother Nature was looking out for us when she invented corn husks, y'all. So then we just tie it up like a cute little, what in the fudge? Cute little present. Ta-da! Our first tamale. Okay, tamal is actually the singular version. But I'm gonna keep rolling these and then we'll steam them and then we'll eat them. Last one. Some of your husks you might see have a little dirt on them. Probably want to rinse that off before you use them. Full of tips, y'all. Okie dokie. All right, so I've got my tamale steaming pot set up over here. I put a penny in the bottom and then topped it off with about an inch of water, a little steamer tray, and then lined it with more soaked corn husks. The penny is there so that you can hear if it's run dry. So we're gonna lay all these into our steamer pot and let them steam for about an hour. If you hear the penny not rattling anymore, then you can add some water, but don't pour it on top of the tamales. Try to pour it around the edge so you're not like soaking your tamales. And then in about an hour, we'll eat some. After about an hour, you want to check your tamales and see if they're done. So pull one out, let it cool for a couple of minutes, and try to unwrap it. If the husk is still sticking to the masa, then let them cook for a couple more minutes, maybe 5 to 10 more minutes. When they're done, you should be able to unwrap the husk from the tamale and it should come clean. The cheese and the sauce might stick to the husk, but as long as the masa is not sticking, then you are good to go. Thumbs up, homies. Now it's time to eat this tamale. Look at it, it's so beautiful. This is my favorite kind of tamale, I think. So you can serve these with a little bit more of the green salsa that we put inside, or you can serve them with some of my Texas hot sauce, which is my preference. I did a video for this a couple of weeks ago too, so I'll put a card up there if you want to see how to make this salsa. And same with the salsa verde, so let's put a little on here. And you'll notice the masa expands as it cooks, so it might poke out the end there. You might have a little masa tip sticking out. But look at this. They're so moist and delicious, and that Manchego cheese, man. And they're Christmas colors. We always have tamales on Christmas Eve in my family, and probably most people in Texas. So that's why this is a Christmas recipe. I nailed it. I nailed it. I wish that you could try this. It's incredible. It's one of the best tamales I've ever made. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that little button right down there to subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every week. Have a great December. Have a great Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Tamale Month. Yeah, man. This is the life. I'm living it.